So Friday morning about 6:30, I woke up and I noticed that the power was out. I looked out the front door and saw there were already trees down and that the wind and the rain was far worse than what I thought it was going to be. I went across the way here to check on my neighbor Jake, who's an elderly gentleman. He is a Vietnam veteran, and I was outside when I noticed that just the amount of rain that was coming down, and we had trees falling like almost every minute in the area. I was standing in my driveway not far from here, and I noticed a cracking sound that direction. So I ran in and I was screaming for my wife and son to get out of the house. I went in, I got my wife, got my son, they grabbed one of the dogs, they got in my wife's car and backed it up just a little bit from where we're standing. And when I went in to get the second dog and come out, the rest of the mountain came crashing down, pretty much while we were standing in the driveway. It crushed my car, which is parked right here. I got smacked in the face with a portion of a tree, and my wife backed up that direction toward the access road. I met up with her, got in the car, and we drove down to the base of 64, and we pretty much just sat there until the storm stopped. So when we got down to the base of Grand Canyon in 64, I got out of the car to make a phone call, and it was still like pouring rain. I turned around and I looked through the front windshield and saw my wife, just aghast at what happened, and my son in the back with the two dogs, and it hit me that like they were shocked and there was a serious impact emotionally from just what had happened. I've dealt with almost dying a few times my time in the military and with being a police officer, not to be too dramatic, but I think it was new to them. And my son, who's 13, he's a pretty stoic guy, and he's really good emotionally. This rocked him because this is his home. It's our first home that we bought. He was dealing with the emotional trauma of my wife was on dialysis for 5 years, had a transplant, had some issues with the kidney transplant. So I felt like this was maybe the straw that broke the camel's back a little bit with him. Since then, he's been dealing with, just not really saying much. He'll just kind of cry randomly. He had a panic attack in school, this is not atypical for him. We're working through it. It's been good for me to be home with him as much as I could be throughout this. And as far as just my wife and her mental state, I think it's tough for her to see the property in this condition. We're not really too sure like what's going to happen or anything, but to try to just look at it every day, it's hard not to be remembered of that morning and how close we got. I think if were it not for the creek acting like a swale, it might have just kind of swallowed us up in the driveway where we're at. And it's scary to think about, but we're just happy that didn't happen. I mean, emotionally, I was concerned because I was thinking about the fact that I probably should have been at work, was not at work, and that was getting to me. I was happy that I was here for my family, but also scared for them because it was pretty shocking to hear the trees cracking, and they were in the car sitting there like really not able to do anything as it fell down. I was pretty upset with myself for not evacuating or just anticipating that it was going to be as bad as it was. So immediately after just kind of the shock of the amount of things that were on the house and the devastation was to my responsibilities as a parent and a husband, my responsibilities as an officer, and then what next, which was not immediately evident to me, to be honest. We have to deep clean the house and do mold mitigation and remediation. There was some water and mud that got in. In addition to that, I have to replace the ductworks in the house and make sure there's no mold in there. My wife's on immunosuppressant medications, like she takes about 30 pills a day, twice a day. And I have to hire a hygienist to come and do spore trap testing because her immune system is suppressed from her transplant. It would be risky for me to bring her in where there could be mold particulates or anything. We didn't have an HVAC unit. It got completely destroyed for a better part of 6 weeks or since the storm. It's just been a little bit of a logistical difficulty to get them to come here. And it's not like something where you can just spray bleach on the walls and wipe them down. We got to get into, they got to rip up the carpets. Anything really cloth has to be removed and replaced. So I would say at that point, there's a lot of things that we were able to do, and work is ongoing. But obviously we're just happy that the house is still standing, which I didn't think was going to be the case the day after the storm.
Hello, I'm Chaplain Creed, and I have the privilege of serving the Asheville Police Department. I also have the honor of serving Officer Pisani. The last couple weeks, he's gone through quite the crisis during the storm. You've heard his story. Let me tell you about the man. He's a family man. He loves his wife. He loves his son. He cares for them. He wants to protect them, and he wants to provide for them. He's also a great officer. He's a wonderful team member. In his heart right now, he wants to be with his team and serve this great city of Asheville. But he's going through a crisis. His house has been wrecked. A tree went through the wall of his home. His bathroom, the main bathroom, the master bathroom, needs to be completely redone. Needs new carpet, a new roof, new HVAC unit has to be worked. We need clean air in there because of a health issue with his family member. There needs to be a clean air in the house. And we also are concerned about the hill behind his home. We need to make sure that there is a containing wall that's protecting his family from that hill. We need to make sure that his creek is safe that's beside his house. We also need to repair his deck. We have more that needs to be repaired, and he can't get into his house right now. He's misplaced. We've raised $48,000. We need about $50,000 more. And I'm asking you if you would partner with us, the chaplains of APD, to help raise those funds for this great warrior and great man. Would you please help us?